This book is by far the strangest book that I've ever read, like in my entire life. You're about to watch me read Unhinged, an erotic door romance by Vera Valentine. I'll be updating you periodically with my thoughts as I'm reading this book. So for a bit of background, my friend and I were jokingly talking about this book, and I was like, yeah, like, have you read that door romance? And she's like, the what now? And I'm like, the door romance. And she's like, be right back. And she read it and she's like, you have to read this book. This is for the giggles. I need to make that very clear. I am reading this for the giggles, and my friend read it for the giggles. And like, look at the cover. I do not have high expectations, to be honest. It's like 70 pages, so like maybe an hour less of my time is going to be reading this book. But yeah, I don't have high expectations. I don't expect much from it. I really just expect it to be the most bizarre book that I probably ever and probably will ever read in my entire life. And that's about it. Those are my expectations. That's what I expect. So from my understanding, Unhinged is basically like a door romance, and this door falls in love with a woman who's being stalked, and he's like her apartment door. And I think Zeus is involved somehow. And that's how I understand the book. I don't really know how like a door and a human can fall in love. Like, can he communicate to her, or? I don't really know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and I feel like I will get my answers, and I'm in for a good fun time. And I feel like I'm regretting my decisions, but I mean, sometimes you just gotta read a door romance, you know? So without further ado, let's read Unhinged. I'm now halfway through Unhinged, and here are my thoughts so far. This book is written better than I expected, and it is oddly impressive the amount of times that you can use the word knob in a sentence and have it make sense. It's also interesting because it's written from the perspective of like an actual door. So you feel as a door feels when it opens and closes, and just like how a door sees things and understands things. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting the way that was done, because having to personify something that isn't a human, creativity needs to be used. What's happened right now, and keep in mind that this is a very short book, it's 70 pages only, and so basically our door is a sentient door, and he's had a bunch of different people live in like the apartment that he's the door of, but his favorite one and current tenant is this woman named Tana, and Tana doesn't realize it, but she's being like hunted by the superintendent of the apartment complex. Like, he'll sneak in, he'll steal like her stuff, smell it, do some really creepy stuff. And he has a type, and the door had seen him take somebody who looked a lot like Tana into the woods, and she has been presumed that he basically killed her. And so the door is like, oh my goodness, like Tana is in danger because she's the type that the superintendent is going for, and he's starting to do some sketchy things, like coming into the building when she's not around. He has a secret set of keys. At one point he tries to poison her orange juice when she's away. So yeah, the door sees all this, but he can't do anything about it. And so I don't know who shows up. I'm pretty sure it's Zeus. I don't know my like mythology well enough to know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Zeus. Shows up one night and he's like, hey, apparently you're my son because I had relations with a tree, and that tree had dropped like an acorn and grew into a big tree, and the wood was cut down and was turned into the door. So that's how the door is like a demigod, I guess. And so Zeus is like, so I know you're into the like the woman who lives in the apartment that you're the door of, so I'm gonna let you visit her dreams once, and basically she needs to sleep with you as a door in order for you to become like a human. And so he visits her in the dream. Woman is just like confused. She's like, this is a weird dream. But yeah, some events ensue, and yeah, the door is now a human, and because he turned into a human, there's no door. So her apartment's just like wide open. So I don't know what that means for like the superintendent guy who's gonna like come in, but yeah, there's just no door. So where I'm at right now, they're going door shopping. Yeah, so that's where I am. It's a very bizarre book, and I feel a little bit speechless. I feel like I can usually talk more about what I'm reading, but I don't know. It's so short that I feel like it's hard to try to like explain it without entirely spoiling anything in case you're interested in reading this book. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts and where I'm at right now. So I'm going to continue to read Unhinged, and I will update you when I finish the book. So I will see you then with my final thoughts. I just finished reading Unhinged, and I don't even know what I just read. This book is definitely creative. I will give it that. I really respect the creativity of the book, but I've definitely read better like Wattpad stories, like written better, but I didn't expect this to be like the best written book ever. I don't really know what I expected, to be honest. What I did not expect was the where door. So like every full moon he turns into a door again, and he and Tana have to like, you know, do the thing for him to become a human again. And there's like no reason why, it just is. He just becomes like he's just like a where door. And creativity, it was a very strange story. Honestly, the strangest thing I've ever read in my entire life. And there are parts though that were like really weird because he is like the equivalent of like a baby, like he doesn't understand anything. And so I found the spicy scene so uncomfortable, like even when he's a human, because he doesn't really understand anything. And it just gave me the ick, to be honest. It gave me the ick. Like I don't know how else to explain it. And then the scenes where he was a door were, I did not realize that knobs, I'm not going to look at knobs the same way again. I'll just say that. I'm not going to ever look at a doorknob the same way again. Like I mentioned, there's definitely a lot of creativity, which I respect. It was weird because the story, like there was this like story, like the main plot was this like stalker murderer guy who's like the superintendent of the building. But that story just kind of like fizzles away, and then it's like suddenly just wrapped up. And it's like, oh, I guess, like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know, I guess I was kind of expecting to see more about that, but it's like, once he went from door to human, it kind of focused more on, like, him and Tana. This is a very hard book to explain. I feel like I don't want to be, like, rude or, like, inconsiderate or anything, because I'm sure there's people who really, really like this book. But I just have no idea how to explain this book. Like, a door falls in love with a human, a door turns into a human, but only because the human has to be with him as a door. And then every full moon he becomes a door, and they stop a murderer, and like, wild 70 pages. I would still, oddly enough, recommend it if you're like morbidly interested, like I was, about what is a door romance. I feel like it's the only one in existence, and it's only 70 pages. So like, if you want to read it, like it's less than an hour of your time. So I'm not saying don't read it. I'm just saying like, be prepared, because it's going to be the weirdest thing you're ever going to read. And oddly enough, I'm happy that I read it just because it's like unique and different. So I will be awarding Unhinged a total of 0 stars. I don't even think I can give it 1 star for creativity. I keep on saying it's very difficult to explain it. Like, it's 0 stars. It's not really anything except for strange. And so this is why I recommend it if you are interested in strange, just to check it out, just to say you did, and also just to have a good giggle, because the stuff in this book makes you giggle. Like, not in like the cutesy way, but in the what the heck, how did Zeus get involved in this? So yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts on this book. If there are any weird short books similar to this that you want to recommend to me, definitely feel free. I'll add them on my list when I need a little giggle, I guess. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If this was the weirdest book you've probably ever heard of, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!